Why, hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Four Roads Out of Warba podcast. I do not know what episode we're on. Which one, Bort? 25?
5.
25?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, I am Bob, and I'm just going to go according to my screen. In my upper left, I have the Lord and Savior herself, Tippy Tater Alligator up there.
Last night to all of you.
And then on my bottom left, I have the reverse hat, plaid wearing shirt guy. Doo-doo, how are you? I'm kidding. Bort, how are you doing?
Good. I thought you were gonna work in an Al Borland reference, or
No.
I don't think so, Bart.
Then last but not least, our favorite piece of doo-doo. How are you doing today?
Oh, shitty. I mean, good.
You're the only doo-doo that I will not wipe.
Oh, thanks. I'm doing good.
Good. So, let's say, Tippy, how's your week been?
Pretty good. I just got back home yesterday from my ramblings and travelings down to the southeastern part of the country, and I am very glad to be back home. This evening, I cooked a chicken, or actually roasted a chicken in a cast iron Dutch oven that my folks got me for my upcoming birthday. And it turned out very well. And then I also made a side of roasted potatoes and Brussels sprouts to go along with it. So I just enjoyed that. And now I'm here with you guys.
So when you say Dutch oven, did you put it under your blanket and fart in there, and that's how you cooked it, or what?
This isn't what you do with you and your wife.
Remember on episode 1 how Bob's like, yes, we want this to be able to be watched by our kids someday.
Well, I'm sure they'll know what a Dutch oven is someday.
Oh, how old are you twins?
11.
They already know what that is.
They know what the party one is. They don't know what the actual cooking one is. So, how many miles did you end up walking when you were out on your trip, Tippy?
Well, it was more driving than anything because I had no particular plans on going anywhere. And I just go by the spur of the moment. I'm like, okay, heard about this thing here or this place here. Then I'd, just take off,
Okay. Cool. All right, so Bort, how you been?
Oh, I'm great. Yep.
All right.
Oh, I gotta follow up on that, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Got me a Steam Deck this week.
How's that going?
Getting around with that. Was pretty frustrated trying to get Batman Arkham Asylum to work. I think I re-downloaded it about 8 times, and then finally I was able to get it to work. So I've been playing.
Did you have to get different files on it, or what?
Some games just aren't compatible with it, and you have to do you got to download some extra files essentially.
Okay.
And I kept trying, couldn't make it work, and then finally I just kept watching different YouTube videos, and like everybody had these different ways to do it, and finally one guy just said, all I do is I go into the Linux desktop app and just open Steam and Linux and then open it that way, and it worked ever since.
The graphics comparable to like the PlayStation 3 and all that, or?
Oh, I mean, it better. I mean, than PS3 even. I mean, I know it's an older game, but people tend to say it's somewhere between a I think, what did they say, between a PS4 and a PS4 Pro in terms of graphical quality.
Okay.
So it's
Cool.
not bad at all. I've been streaming my PS5 to it, and it works like you're playing, on a handled PS5. I mean, the streaming is really good.
Cool.
So I've been enjoying it so far.
Nice. You'll have to look into
How big
that.
is the screen on that?
It's like, I mean, it's about the size of a Nintendo Switch screen, so maybe a little bigger than that. So
Can you hook that up to your TV then, or?
yeah, you can get a docking station and hook it up to your TV, and you can get a Bluetooth remote, or just your PlayStation. You can remote or a controller and sync it through it, and yeah, you can use it as your game console too. So
Okay, cool.
Pretty cool.
Mhm.
Well, that seems like some money I'm going to be wasting soon. So, so what about you, Doodoo? What are you up to?
Oh, not much. Working and yeah, just working, and I've been watching this show called Grimm on Amazon, and I'm on season 5 out of 6, and it's super good, super good. So my plan is this weekend to finish it, but otherwise that's about it. I went grocery shopping today. That was fun.
Ooh,
Yeah,
killer.
yeah. Took a shower.
I can tell you smell delightful.
Thanks.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today's topic is.
Oh wait,
one
how was your week?
Oh, my week was fine. Same kind of stuff. No water. Gonna get my water fixed and fixing stuff and just chaos as usual. But I'm here. I kicked my daughter out of her room so I could use her room for the podcast today. Good dad I am. So
Good father.
yes. But anyways, today we are going to be going over time travel. Now, I have been a time travel dork for years. I don't know what it is about it that just intrigues me. But I thought I would bring the joy to this group and just kind of see what everybody's kind of general thought of it is, and just kind of just talk about it. So, first of all, do you guys think time travel actually exists? I'll go with Bort first because you look like you have something to say. Do you think time travel actually exists?
In terms of, in a way, yes.
What way?
I believe it was something about people who are in the space shuttle orbiting Earth. They will actually somehow live for a couple seconds shorter than us people down on Earth due to something or another.
So
I believe
that's time dilation. Yep.
Oh yes, of course.
And so what you're talking about is what they've done is experiments. They'll have like atomic clocks that they can get down to the nanosecond, and they can they'll sync two together. They'll keep one on Earth, and then they'll put one up in space, and they'll have it rotate, and then they'll bring that one down after a while from space, and they'll see that the clocks will be off by about 0.14 nanoseconds or something like that. And the reason that is a couple different reasons, but it's because of Albert Einstein, his theory of general relativity. The closer you are to the magnetic fields, the stronger magnetic fields mean that time's going to go slower. So like black holes and all that, time will go so slow because gravity's so strong. So if you go into a black hole, you die, but time would technically be going like really, really slow because of that. And that's also what happened in Planet of the Apes, too. Remember that movie from whenever it was? Yeah, they went into space. Yeah, Planet of the Apes, they went into space. They flew in space for a long time. Planet of the Apes is the one about the monkeys.
Charles Manson.
Apes and monkeys are different.
Okay, well, the apes, yes. Anyway, Planet of the Monkeys.
Time dilation, relativity, Albert Einstein. Apes and monkeys are the same thing.
Well, the same species, somewhat. But anyway, so yeah,
Continue.
Yes.
Continue there, Bart.
But anyways, what you're talking about, yes, that is, from my research, that's the only kind of time travel that's proven is the time dilation. You go up, the gravity, the closer you get to, the speed of light, time gets weird and all that stuff. And you'd age differently. So if you went out at the speed of light for, 100 years, you'd come back, you'd be, 100 years old, and everybody else would be 100,000 years older or something like that. So, Doodoo, go ahead.
You had asked Bart his thoughts.
Yeah.
Don't forget to let him finish.
Oh, I was
not going to let him finish.
Okay.
Doodoo, I'll get back to you.
Oh, boy.
So, yes. So, anyways, yes, time dilation. Is that the only thing you think of, or what about time to travel to the past?
I do not believe, no.
Okay. What about you, Tippy? Do you think time travel to, like, the past is something that actually exists?
No, absolutely not. I think time travel is plausible, but no, we don't have the technology to do it. With as vast as the universe is, I'm sure maybe there is some advanced culture out there that has been able, to develop time travel to some extent, but I don't know, it's really beyond our comprehension, I believe. So,
yeah. What do you think, Doodoo?
In 1996, the Packers won their third Super Bowl. In the days following, when they returned to Green Bay, they had a parade on the streets of Green Bay. In the crowd, there was a photo taken, and in the middle of the crowd was Vince Lombardi. Now, Vince Lombardi died, I believe, and Bort can look this up, but I think he died in like 72 or something like that. So,
70.
if he was 70, thank you. So if he died in 70, and this was 96, and he had to have either come back in spirit or I'm thinking he might have taken a I don't know. I can't explain how he got there, but he was definitely there. So yes, I believe in time travel, simply because how do you explain Vince Lombardi being there 3 days after the Super Bowl in '96?
And there have been also things in the past, too, pictures of people back in like the 20s and 30s. The hell do you keep laughing at?
Things that roll around in my brain.
Tippy.
I got one. In the WWE/WWF universe, time travel is possible because I do recall one time where the Rockers actually won the tag team titles, but the ropes broke, and since it didn't happen on TV, they actually never won the titles. So,
Yes. So Vince McMahon jumped in his time machine and went back.
yeah. Vince McMahon is a time traveler, indeed. like he's a human anomaly, anyways. So,
well,
yeah.
I don't know if you're paying attention to WWE now, but he obviously he quit like in July, and now somehow he time traveled back to where he was before. And now he's screwing the whole company up by selling it and all that. So,
Oh,
yeah, he sold the whole thing now to, I think, Saudi Arabia or something.
Mhm.
So
what?
yeah, to like the whatever, because every couple of years they've done like big shows over there because they pay a lot of money, and I think he sold to that same group, right, Bort?
Yeah. Well, it's in the process, but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the country government of Saudi Arabia is going to own.
Okay, so how does that benefit? Well, I mean, it benefits the McMahon family, obviously, because they probably got paid a lot of money by a lot of oil-rich Saudis. But how's
Doesn't benefit the women's division.
oh my goodness,
Oh.
it went there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It
but
doesn't benefit anyone. Like that Live Golf that the Saudis started up, they can't get a TV deal here, so it's not going to go well.
That was the last thing I was expecting to hear tonight.
To be honest with you, yes, I do believe in time travel because there's a lot of smart people in this world, and we've been going to space for a long time. And if they can figure out how to do that, I mean, yeah, there's with the whole clock thing that you described, and there's a lot of unexplained stuff in the world. So something's got to be going on.
True. And with technological acceleration at this point, it's.
Yeah, because from all I researched, there's like 5 different ways that scientists have come up that time travel is theoretically possible. First of all, it was if you go faster than the speed of light. So according to Einstein, we cannot go faster than light. Just we cannot. Anything with mass can't. But theoretically, if we could, then faster than light would mean you would go actually back in time. So with people you can't, but I always found that interesting. What if there was a way to like send information back in time? Like, let's say, the lottery numbers. I can't go back in time because it has mass, but what if I like could type into a computer and hit enter and somehow make that go faster in time so you could send something back to your past self like the day before? So maybe. But anyway, yeah. And then a wormhole, but they can't make those because I guess you need like negative energy, which I guess is something we don't have. And then the gravity thing, like you talked about with the black hole, the Planet of the Apes thing we talked about, and then the kind of time travel, kind of cheap, is suspended animation. So if you like freeze yourself or something like that, like they do in the movies, and when you go to Mars, you put in suspended animation for how long? Technically, that'd be time traveling if you woke up. But so, yeah, that was just kind of touching on that, what we were talking about. But now, not so much of if you think it exists or not. If it did exist, how do you think it would work? So what I mean by that, time traveling to the past. Do you think it'd be more like you travel back and like Terminator 1, for example, where everything is always happens the way it does. So me traveling back in time to you guys are all familiar with Terminator, right?
Yep.
Bored are you?
A little bit.
Yep. So mainly they sent the Terminator back, sent another guy back. The guy they sent back ended up killing the Terminator, knocking up the girl who ended up having the guy who sent him back in time in the first place. So that was always supposed to happen. But then you have other stuff like Back to the Future, where if you go back to the time, you change something, then you get rid of the old future and you start a new future. Or there's just like the Avengers, where it's multiverse. You go back, every time you go back, you start a new timeline, and then there's like a billion timelines. So, yeah. Doodoo, how do you think time travel would work if you actually went back in time? Do you think it would be would those or something different?
I think it'd be one of those. I think that if I went back in time to 2 seconds ago, and I don't know, I cold clocked myself, I would start something new. As a stupid example, but say I went back in time and I got $20 in my lunchbox ready for change for tomorrow when I go to work.
Mhm.
So if I go back in time and I take that money, then that would start another timeline to me not having that when I wake up tomorrow and what's going to happen.
Okay.
You know, I believe there's multiple versions of ourselves. And I feel bad for the other me's, but yeah, no, I think it would be that kind of that bump new timeline thing.
Like a multiverse type thing.
Like
where-
multiverse. Yep.
Mhm. So on that aspect then, do you think that it is just every time you would go back, you would start something, or you think it's already happened? So there's pretty much like right now an infinite number of timelines because every decision you make is made into a new timeline. Or do you think that's already out there, or do you think it's just okay?
Yep.
So
yep.
that's
Go ahead.
so that brings an interesting thing with the multiverse thing of free will. If there's time travel with multiverse, that means every decision you make has already been made. So do we have free will or not? You know, is every decision already made for us? So then what's the point of doing whatever?
Yeah, there's free will because there's a billion of me sitting here talking to you guys.
Mhm.
Something happens. You know, if I don't know, choose to burp right now, well, then I would burp and there'd be another timeline.
Mhm.
And then this one that I'm currently living would continue as it is. You only
Okay.
live on what you remember, what you know, you only live once.
Yep, I like that because then it's your consciousness has that one
Yeah.
path you're going on. So, yeah,
Yep.
you know, million doo-doos. Yeah, there's a million different or infinite number of yous, but you are living in this part right now.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
cool. What about you, Tippy? How do you think time travel would work if we did go to the past? Do you think it would be just that's the way you're supposed to go, or do you think it'd just be the multiverse thing where it's just unlimited amount of timelines, or what?
Well, the past is the past, and you can't dwell on the past. So, as far as time travel goes, I really don't care about that.
Okay.
As far as multiverses go, yeah, I believe in the plausibility of a multiverse.
Okay.
So that's really all I have to say about it.
Cool. What about you, Bort?
I'll go with one timeline.
So, like the Terminator one, where is it just everything already set, or like Back to the Future? What if I went back to the time, changed things a little bit? Is my old future erased now, and am I starting a new future, or is everything like if I went back, I have to do everything a certain way to make sure the future I was in stays the same way, so I can exist in the first place to be able to come back?
My head hurts. No, it already happened. It's set in stone. So yeah.
Like Harry Potter 3, you remember that one?
Yes.
So is that how you think time travel would be? Pretty much.
Sure. We'll go with that one.
Fair enough. All right. So then comes to some paradoxes with time travel. Like if you could go back, like we'll start with you, Bort. If you could go back in time, for one, would you? And two, would you try to change something? Or would you just go to observe and learn?
It would be interesting, but I would say probably not.
Mm-hmm.
The consequences of potential actions would be too great. But again, that doesn't fit with what I just said about the Harry Potter timeline.
Well, that's what I love about time travel is you can just go in so many different directions. You're like, well, I thought I believed this, but now this scenario I think I did this way. It's a constant. Your mind's just constantly just going.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Doctor Who is one of my favorite shows, and they've got just complete chaos of a timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, Doctor Who is a lot like what you're talking about. I think that I watched that episode, and that was already
watched
the Blink. Yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
Liked it?
I really liked it, and to me, it's a lot like you're talking about, where everything already happened, and the events now they have to happen. It's that causality. The effect happens for the cause, and that's what kind of messes with people with time travels. Of how can this happen if I haven't done it yet, type of thing. So,
what do you think?
What about you?
Angels.
Yeah, I liked them. They're creepy.
No angels. No angels.
I love the end of it where they surrounded them around the phone booth thing and then disappeared and they're all stuck looking at each other. That was a good end.
No angels.
What about you, Tippy? Do you think if you could go in the past, would you? Or would you just leave it as is? Or would you go back just to observe or what?
I think, well, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that didn't want to go back in time and change something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a power that nobody should have.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I wouldn't.
Yep. How about you, Doo-Doo? Yeah.
I agree. Nobody should be able to go back and change stuff, but I would love to go back to like France in 1943, 44. How badass would it be to see your grandfather sitting in a truck with a M30 grease gun? I mean, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Yep. Yep.
But it would just be to observe,
Okay. So you're talking about passively observing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I could go and passively observe something, I mean, I'd like to go back about 65 million years ago and witness the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Whether or go back through history's other mass extinctions,
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it obviously all didn't happen at once.
Yeah.
But just to see how it actually happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard I think it was there was some theory that the Vatican had a chronometer or something they called it. That was a machine that you could go back and view the past. And one of them claimed they took a picture of Jesus and all that stuff. And I'm like, whoa, okay. There was never any proof of it, but they did supply the picture of them. And it's a grainy whatever picture, but that kind of stuff would be cool to go back and be able to look at the stuff.
Yeah.
But I get the meddling with things. I wouldn't even want to touch that just for the fact that you don't want the universe just
blow up.
And that brings me kind of to my next point a little bit. What do you think if you did do something like that? Like, in a prime example, the grandfather paradox. You guys ever heard of that?
Is this the Futurama one?
Yeah, they might have done it on Futurama. You can do it with a bunch of different stuff, but let's say I went back in time to 1938. I love my grandpa. I love him, but let's just say I went back there and I killed him.
This is Futurama.
Yes, at that, or it could be a bunch. Let's say I went back and 5 years ago and killed myself. The paradox then is, well, if I went back and killed myself 5 years ago, then how am I going to be able to go back to kill myself? So I didn't kill myself because I wasn't there to do it, and it just keeps making that weird loop. Or like the grandfather thing. I go back, kill my grandfather, Well, my grandfather's dead now, so I was never born. Well, then who went back to kill my grandfather? Nobody did. So my grandfather's alive. And it's just that weird time loop thing. Oh, go ahead.
In Futurama, he killed his grandfather, but then he didn't disappear. So he's like, huh, everything must be fine. He goes, oh, that must not have been my grandpa after all, and that must not have been my grandma. Then he went and slept with his grandma, and she got pregnant, so he was his own grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You go back and kill your grandfather, your grandma's still alive, and she's still going to have kids. So there'd still be a version of you running around.
Yep. And that goes on to another paradox, the Hitler paradox. People have brought this up. Hey, if I had the ability to time travel, I would go back and I'd kill Hitler so he'd never do any of the atrocities he did. Well, it's the same deal. Okay, you go back and kill Hitler. Well, then future you is never going to go back and kill Hitler because Hitler doesn't exist. So then it's that same kind of paradox. But some people think a way around is just what Bort was saying. If I go back to kill baby Hitler, well, that probably wasn't baby Hitler. Somebody else was put in his place then, and that ended up being him. So that's kind of how they get around it, just like what Bort was saying about the grandfather paradox.
That happened to Who as well.
Oh, yeah?
They went back to kill baby Hitler. Somebody else did, and he had to stop them from killing baby Hitler because, no, that's not Hitler. That is an innocent baby.
Oh, yeah?
Like, yes, yep. But it becomes Hitler. Like, he's like, yeah, but you can't kill someone who hasn't done what they haven't done yet.
Yep.
Which gets you into the Minority Report thing.
Yep, exactly.
Well,
Oh, go ahead, Doodoo.
Well, there's that paradox, too, where there's a mallard and a goldeneye swimming around.
Huh? I don't know that one. Oh!
Paradox.
Oh!
A mallard and a goldeneye.
Hey, our Uncle Dave, doesn't he have a paradox?
He does. He's right off the deck. Right off the deck there.
Paradox, yep.
Yep. So see, now there's some reality where that joke hit and this video got 30,000 million hundred likes and I became rich. There's a timeline for that too.
I'm assuming we're not on that timeline.
No, I gotta.
So then there's another one. It's called the bootstrap paradox. Have you guys ever seen, I'm assuming not, Somewhere in Time? It's a love story with Christopher Reeves and all that. Mainly what it is, Christopher Reeves is...
This pre-accident or after accident?
Pre-accident.
Okay.
Anyway, so Christopher Reeves, he's at like some wedding, and he sees an old lady who walks up to him and gives him a watch and says, "Come find me." And he goes, "That's weird." And something happens where he ends up getting transported back to the past, to like 1920 something. And he meets a girl, falls in love with this girl, and he ends up giving this girl his watch and say, "Come find me." He ends up going back to the future, and then that girl, that old lady that ended up getting a watch, was the girl that he had fallen in love with in the beginning. Well, the paradox comes of, where did that watch come from? Because there's no way to figure out the origin of the watch. So at that point, you that's a mess with your head. But then also, eventually that watch is going to start wearing down, and the pieces are going to stop working. So what happens if it keeps going back and then the watch stops working? Would it be they would just give something else, a different object to do, or would time just blow up because the watch wouldn't be there? So what do you think, Doodoo? Do you think the watch has an origin, or do you think it's just one of those objects trapped in time?
I think it's not so much about the watch. I think it's about the characters. Because that watch could very well just be put in a dresser drawer and forgot about.
Yep.
I think that, well, number one, you watch some weird shows.
Well, they're time travel stuff, so I'm all.
I know. I think
And I
that.
love the love stories.
Oh, I think that if I were to give you a Mountain Dew bottle, and then I tell you to give it to me, and then it just kept going around and around and around, I think that Mountain Dew bottle would be fine because it would keep getting refreshed. You know,
Okay.
I think it's about you and me more than it is the object.
Okay. All right.
You guys telling a love story over a Mountain Dew bottle right now?
Oh yeah, I gotta do the do.
I guess it's me and Dudu's origin of our love story. I guess it goes over a Mountain Dew bottle.
Well, it's
How
like Tippy was
romantic.
saying about that phone before we went on the air.
So, what would happen? Do you think? We'll go to Tippy. So, if you did have somebody go into the past on one of those, actually, no, I'm gonna go to Bort because he believes in this type of time travel. If it actually does happen. So your version of time travel, where everything happens, it's supposed to happen that way. What if it didn't? It's called the bilking paradox. So let's say, Bort, you were supposed to go back in time as the savior of a metal Terminator that got sent back in time. You were going to go kill that Terminator and then impregnate a girl to later be the guy who sends you back in time. But let's say you got killed by that Terminator, so you can't do it. What do you think would happen? Would the world just, like, if that paradox happened where you can't complete that mission, would the world existence just stop? Or would it just make that multiverse thing? Because in the time travel you're talking about is it's supposed to happen that way. But what if it doesn't? What if something happens where it doesn't happen the way it's going to go? What do you think would happen?
If we're going off the Harry Potter way, it does.
Mm-hmm.
So
it does. But what if it doesn't? What if you know, like, okay, Harry travels back in time, does this, I know that works. Well, what's stopping me from grabbing that same time travel device and going back and preventing something from happening then? What would happen then? Would the world just...
Well, it would have already happened.
But what if it didn't? That's what I'm saying. What if you tried to be a scoundrel and tried to stop time travel from, or stop that thing from happening with time travel?
Well, it would have already happened in the past. And you would have failed unless you succeed.
See, I get what Bort's saying, and I understand what you're saying too, Bob. I mean, there's what ifs to everything in life, and we're going in the past a lot. Not to try to steal your show or nothing, but what if we go into the future? I mean, you know, if I could hold a gem that would teleport me, you know, 50 years in the future for 10 minutes. And then I'd be coming back right to where I am right when I grabbed a hold of that thing. That would create a bunch of different problems. But I think I would rather do that than going back in time, because everything's happened and it's what we know. And, you know, unfortunately, why change it?
But the fact of you going forward in time, then you come back, you still have the opportunity then to maybe change something or maybe not. Like, because that would suck on your scenario. You go ahead for like 10 minutes, so you know the future's there, and then you come back. That's a lot of pressure. Like, oh man, I know that future's there, but I would be like questioning every decision I ever did, because I'd want to make sure I make the right decision so I don't like blow the universe up. See, that's where it would be hard for me. I don't think I'd be able to just...
Not to be an ass, but you're not that important, though. You know?
Well, Well,
the world and your kids and your wife and me and Bort and Tippy, we're all going to live on. You know what I mean? As long as you're not, okay, in another year you're drinking too much and we find you in a gutter, you know, that would be a bad decision about the future. You see what I mean? But I don't think any choice you make right now in this present future or present day could blow the world up in 50 years.
So you think do you think more of the future isn't set yet and we're just going and just whatever decision we're already just making it because we're supposed to make the decision and we not overthink it type of thing because this is just the way I'm going?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What about you, Tippy? Do you think like going to the future, what Dudu was talking about, do you think that there would be a chance of screwing anything up with that or not?
I have no idea what you've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. I picked up a little of the small grain of sand effect, the butterfly effect, chaos theory. I just don't believe in the hyperbolic or the and hypothetical as far as time travel really goes. I don't know.
Yep.
That's, we all got our beliefs.
Yep. And I
also don't believe in fate either. So,
yep.
At the same time.
Yep. So for me, I guess to get more, I know we weren't going to bring religion and stuff like that, but I just feel that
it wasn't talking about religion, but predestination, I guess I should say, better term.
Yeah, for me, it brings a little bit of religion in because on paper, we can find a lot of different ways to make things work, but the universe being so big as it is, and us being so like unable to do things that would have to make those mathematical things possible, you know, like traveling so fast to do something. Where I just don't think God made it a possibility to do that because of everything we've been talking about. We're humans, we're morons. We would screw everything up if we had any kind of this time travel power. So there's a reason that we can't go this fast. There's a reason we're not going to be able to go, you know, make warp drives to go to, you know, other galaxies because just as humans, that's not our purpose. But we have all these things because of our minds.
Not yet, anyways.
Yeah, dude, or Tippy, go ahead.
Wait until Charlton Heston meets the apes. Then he might think differently.
Damn dirty apes.
Sorry, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I hope I'm not around for that because that would be terrifying. So that's kind of my thought with it. I think everything looks good on paper, but when it comes to actually doing it, I just don't think physically it's ever going to happen, and that's just because of, you know, my beliefs. I think that higher power made it where, nah, you guys are morons. You'd screw that up. Go ahead, Tippy.
Never say never, because no one ever has.
Dude.
I think in our lifetime, I mean, I think in your kids' lifetime, they're going to see some changes just because you really can't stop progress. And there's going to be a lot of smart people. You know, well, there already is a lot of smart people, but progress in 100 years is going to be a lot different than it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why
what was that?
That's why it would be kind of cool to like freeze your body or something and come back in 150 years just to see what's changed and what's new, and if Bort's still got the long hair, or you know.
I'll keep you in my freezer if you want.
Okay.
If there was anybody that would, it would be you, Bob.
Yes, of course. Have you guys, you know Stephen Hawking, that really smart guy, right? So, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or whatever, he threw a party for time travelers. And his theory was time travel doesn't exist because if time travel did exist, where are the time travelers? That was his theory. So he threw a party for time travelers and said, here we go. Everybody in the future is going to know that I'm throwing this party here. So if you're a time traveler, travel back to this date and time, and then we can have a party and prove that time travel exists. And his theory was nobody came to it, so time travel doesn't exist. And it never will exist. Which I thought was clever.
You know, it could just be that he's a lame party host.
Yeah. Now, if Hugh Hefner would have had it, I bet you there would have been time travel.
Yeah, so I had talked to Bort probably a year or so ago about I have a board game that I want to do, a time travel game. So what my idea for it is it would be different levels. You'd have like an easy, medium, and a hard level. You could buy expansion packs or whatever for it. And you would travel back and forth from time, but every time you did that, the decisions you make would affect the stability of the timeline that you're on. And if you screwed things up too much, then the timeline would shatter and you'd lose the game. And I thought you'd have an easy one would be like a multiverse level, so there's a lot of leeway for multiverse. A more challenging one would be like the Back to the Future one, where if you go back and make a change, then the future is changed based off of that change. Or the hard one would be like the Harry Potter time travel or the Terminator one, where everything happens, so then it would be a lot more difficult not to lose the game based off of that. So now that with my great vast knowledge of time travel that I've given you, do you think that game board would be something that people would care about, or do you think it's a terrible idea?
I couldn't even fathom how to make that into a board game.
Doo-doo, if it was made into a board game, would you play it?
Yes.
How about you, Tippy?
I have absolutely no idea what you're referencing.
Board
I've
game.
never seen a Harry Potter movie. That's just for starters.
Okay. So you're not cool like us.
Cool in my own way.
All right. So movie-wise, do you guys have any
Tippy.
Do you guys have any time travel movies that really stick out? Like, I love this movie.
Land Before Time.
Land Before. I guess the camera time traveled. The animators did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you, Tippy? Do you have any that you like or that stick out?
Well, I was going to say Back to the Future Part 2 is my favorite, but I will agree with Doo-Doo if you're putting the camera back in time, yeah, Land Before Time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like Back to the Future Part 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it splices the first movie and the second movie kind of together.
I like that because it was the first one I'd seen, because I remember when I had the chicken pox in first grade, Mom came home with two things, a VHS tape of Back to the Future Part 2 and Super Mario Brothers 2 on the NES.
So one was really good and one was awful.
No, they're both great times, but I couldn't figure out how to beat Birdo when I was 6 or 7 years old.
I still haven't beaten that game.
Birdo was hard when you were a kid.
Oh yeah, I mean, how do you figure you're supposed to jump on the egg, then lift it up? I mean, you could, yeah. I mean, you know the mechanics of the game now, but at the time, goodness.
Yeah, Bort, do you have any time travel movies that you like?
I can't think of any. I mean, I watch a lot of shows that have time travel. Doctor Who, Futurama, Rick and Morty. Those are the main ones that deal with time travel quite a bit. Rick and Morty has one really good one. I showed you, Bob, the Vat of Acid episode with the where he builds a time travel machine that works basically as a video game pause button,
Yep.
and then you can rewind time however long you want.
Nice. Nice.
Yep. What's cool is my son, he's got that Nintendo Switch. You can do that in the Switch too if you're playing like the old school Nintendo games. You can just rewind if you die, and you can just pick up right from your left off like 2 seconds before. So that's really cool. That I wish more games had that, because I get so frustrated when you die 200 times and you're like, I'm done with this.
So
A
does
rewind
the
would
alternate timeline?
What was that?
Does each time you pause and rewind create an alternate timeline?
I guess, I don't know. I don't think it does. I think it goes back to the future rules where you rewind and then you just kind of rewrite that other timeline, because you can't get back to that other future unless you die the same way.
Well, it doesn't rewrite the future because the time kept
No.
on winding in real life.
In our
If you-
real life.
if you rewound 10 minutes, you would have two possibilities. You would have the world where you rewound, and you would have the world where you're starting over. So you'd have two possibilities for a future.
So one would be a video game where you beat 10 minutes earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But then what if you went back and you unplug the video game?
You know what would be really nice to have a rewind in there, Bort, would be Dark Souls. You just lost 36,000 souls. Wait, rewind.
Yeah, because it's something that I never really thought was a possibility to have in a game. And then when I saw I had that possibility, I played a couple Nintendo games, and it was just so fun that you're not worrying about dying and losing all your progress. You can just die. Oh, I died. Just rewind a few seconds and keep going. I actually beat Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
You finally got by level 1-1 on Super Mario Brothers.
Yep. And I got through like 3 or 4 different levels on the Lost Level one or whatever, Super Mario 2, the original one.
3
That
or
was
4
fun.
levels.
Brian, my son beat it in like 2 hours. He's just stupid good at those games. I played a couple levels, like this is too hard, I'm done. Are there any good time travel video games? I know there's one of the BioShock ones, like BioShock Infinite, I think it was, had a time travel aspect to it, but wasn't a big part of the story. I always thought that'd be kind of cool to have a game where you could jump around different timelines, and what you did in this timeline would affect where you go back to and stuff like that.
Technically, every video game is a time travel video game because of how you die.
Yeah,
Oh,
technically.
You die and then you restart before the boss?
Yeah, that's
Is that
true.
your textbook
Yeah.
definition of time travel?
Mm-hmm.
Compare that to like Borderlands, where when you die, the fight's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, Bort. You're smart.
Yeah, you're super smart.
Well, Borderlands has the canon, though, that the only way you can die is in a cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
You can only die in a cutscene?
The characters,
Yeah, you're only ever truly dead in the Borderlands universe if you die in a cutscene.
Oh. How do you die in a cutscene?
Because it's a story written
somebody kills you.
dialogue and Handsome Jack shoots you.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. I'm overthinking it, I guess, but so yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I was just wanting to kind of pick your guys' brains a little bit and make you all twisted and contorted about your time travel thoughts here. I've always loved the topic. Oh, there's other ones too. Like we forgot to talk about like the repeating ones, like Groundhog's Day. I think those are non-existent. I don't think there's a day where you can go back and keep repeating it. If time travel existed and that was the only way it existed, that would make it for us. So,
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had a couple days I wouldn't mind reliving.
yeah.
Yeah. But how do you break the cycle then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a really good one. You guys ever seen Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise sucks. I don't watch his videos.
Well, if you ever,
I think in our movie episode I called Tom Cruise an insufferable doofus.
Yes.
but he does have some decent movies. Edge of Tomorrow is one very good movie that I do recommend if you want to see a Tom Cruise movie, which doesn't sound like anybody does, but all right. Well, I got nothing else, gentlemen. I appreciate you listening to my time travel crap that I've been bugging you to do for a while. So, I hope I altered your reality. I changed your prospect of what time and space is, and I hope I just blew your minds.
I know, I just lost an hour. I'm just kidding. I'm glad to be here.
Now,
That was a
2
good
minutes and 51 seconds to be exact.
That was a good
Well,
one.
we're also
That
going
was
to
a
lose
good one.
subscribers.
Yeah, because of our religious talk and a couple swear words came out.
Yeah, again, that was episode 1 where Bob's like, "Oh, let's keep the religion talk out of it." Yeah,
Well,
and you go and open up Pandora's box there.
yeah, well, it is what it is. So, all right, Tippy, do you have anything else to add? Oh, whoa, what?
I had fun with it. I think it's fun. I think it's good to challenge your brain, but you're gonna drive yourself nuts if you think too much about it. Like I knew, I went back in time and I knew that if I interrupted you, Bort would raise his hand.
That's how you decide to use your time machine?
Mhm.
Let's do that one thing. Well,
Yeah.
Bort, what's up?
You know, you went almost entirely into time travel into the past. You didn't really go much into time travel into the future.
Well, if you want to touch on it, we can. I just
Wanted to piss Tippy off.
Oh, we gotta
Well,
keep
'cause, yeah,
going.
the future. That's not fun. That's not fun talking about time travel in the future. Anybody can go see the future. I want to screw everything up in the past. So, well, we know the future can happen. Einstein, he just make a time machine that you can go, or to make a machine where you can go 0.99% of the speed of light, and you'll be perfect. Your trip will be like 2 days, and everybody else will age for about 20 years. Look at Interstellar. That's a really good movie. That explains time dilation completely. It's a Christopher Nolan movie.
I'm reading.
Tippy?
If you want to look at time travel in real time, all you gotta do is look up at the stars. For like our nearest star is like 4-point-something million light years away. You're seeing that in real time. I mean,
Well, it's crazy. That's 4.7 million light years. So traveling at the speed of light would take you 4.7 million years. And that's where it gets back to where I was talking about with the cosmos and all that stuff out there. It's like, it's so far away with all the technology we got. I don't find it possible, because even if we got something to go fast, let's say we got something to go the speed of light, it would still take 4.7 million years to get there. So
you better have a good razor. Could you imagine the beard you could grow in 4.7 billion years? That would
maybe
be.
I would still be at this. So, yeah, mine would actually be shorter, I think. So
I'm reading a really good book right now that deals with magic and elementals, and how elementals, the people that can control the earth, fire, water, and spirit, live on a different plane as the human world, so they age slower. And really, really good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. What's it called?
There's a whole series. There's actually this writer's made 3 series with 3 different main characters, and she's kind of blending them all in. So, it's good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
That's
Well,
dinner.
like I said, I greatly appreciate you guys nerding out with me with this. I was excited for this one. I just love talking about this dorky stuff. So yeah, Tippy, got anything else before we go?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, Board, how about you?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, Doo-Doo, I suppose I better ask you.
Bort, take your glasses off. Lean in just a little bit. I think there's that picture of Jesus that you were talking about.
So we got hippie Jesus and we got
Bort Jesus.
whatever you are. Yes. And then if you undid your beard, you'd have an old Jesus. Because of the gray beard going down.
Bear in mind that interpretation of me is only based off of how we typically interpret Jesus versus how he's typically Middle Eastern, probably with shorter hair.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Probably.
Yep. Yeah.
I wonder if his beard was as good as mine.
You
Well,
think
you know he had.
Oh, it had to have been better. But you can always strive to do better.
No, this has been fun. Thanks there, Bob. It's not what we usually do, but it's a lot of thinking, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Cool. All right. Well, I have too. So thank you. Well, this is the Four Roads Out of Warba podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.
Yep. Indeed.